On page 104 and 105 you have several examples of paintings by the French Impressionist painter Renoir. Let's start with figure 16-7, the top of page 104. Here we've got all three characteristics of Impressionism. We've got the first two I've given you. The first one is capturing the moment between the time your eye sees an object and your brain tells you what it is that you're looking at. In other words, breaking the scene down into shapes and colors. If you haven't caught on to what I'm getting at yet, look back towards the back of the painting, the background of the painting, where you just have the raw shape and color. No attempt to capture individual hairs in the beard or anything like that, but just the raw shapes and color. I'm going to show you a detail of the bottom right-hand side of the painting. And there's no attention to the hair and the beards or the embroidery on the dress or the wood grain in the chair here, but just the raw shape and color. We also have the second characteristic of Impressionism, which I've already given you, and that is that we see light doing a particular thing. Once you catch on to what I'm getting at, it's really all over the painting, but let's start off looking at the back of the young man's jacket here, where there are patches of sunlight coming down through the leaves and the trees and leaving almost like a constellation of light patches on the back of his jacket. They form a pattern there on the back of the jacket, and when will those patches of sunlight be in those locations again? Well, never, because in just a second the wind's going to blow through the leaves and the trees. He's going to lean towards the young woman he's flirting with. Everything is going. He's going to be moving. The trees are going to be moving. The wind's going to be blowing. And the sunlight coming through the leaves and the trees will never look like that again. And that's your clue to the third characteristic of Impressionism, which I haven't given you yet, and that is very simply capturing a moment of activity. Capturing a moment of activity. Because in just a split second, everything is going to change. This couple is going to twirl one way, and this couple is going to twirl another way, and this couple is going to twirl another way, and this guy is going to reach for his beer. And everything is going to change, and it'll never be like this again. Capturing a moment of activity. We've got a fancy word for the style of painting here. We would say this painting has what's called an accidental style. That's accidental, just like you think I'm saying. A-C-C-I-D-E-N-T-A-L. You can remember that. I'm not saying exactly this is where the word comes from, but you can remember that in that it's almost like an accident that you see the scene. It's like when Renoir comes walking down the street, he turns the corner, and in just a split second, he captures that moment. The moment before his brain even tells him what it is that he's looking at, just the raw shape and color. He captures just that moment when light is doing a particular thing as the sunlight comes down through the leaves and the trees. And he captures just a moment of activity. Because in just a split second, everything is going to change, and it'll never be like that again. On page 105, figure 1610, you have another example of Renoir's work. As you see, very, very typical of Renoir's work. Happy people outside. Whenever you see happy people outside, usually drinking some beer and wine, just relaxing, having a good time outside. When you see paintings like that in an Impressionist style, then you can pretty much guess, at least, that you're looking at Renoir's work. I'm going to show you a detail of this part of the painting over here. And there you go. You see the blurry, fuzzy, we want to say unfocused, thinking about cameras and stuff, nature of the painting, that impressionistic style here. On page 104, you have two examples of Renoir's portraiture, his works in portraits. With Renoir's portraits, you don't have so much the breaking things down into shapes and colors going on in the faces, because it's a portrait, right? But as you move farther away from the painting, towards, say, there's no attempt to capture the embroidery on the comforter on the daybed back there, or on the vase over here. The further you get away, we get that blurry, unfocused nature of the painting. I've got some other examples. Here's another example. It's not in the textbook, of a portrait, a girl with running hoop. Running hoops are old-fashioned toys. They're old-fashioned because kids had to go outside to play with them. Kids don't play outside anymore. Back in the old days when I was a kid, kids used to go outside to play, but I guess they do other things. Anyway, kids had to move back then to play. course, we don't have that breaking things down in the face of the little girl here, but as you move further into the background towards the vegetation back here, for example, you have that fuzzy, blurry, unfocused nature. And then this one here, which you also have in your textbook, girl with watering can. Another example of Renoir's work in portraits. So with Renoir here we have all three characteristics of Impressionism.